might come to your screen, so that time you can say okay. So as of now, there are 39 people. Okay, let me see how to change layout time. Okay. Can you hear me, guys? Somebody has to respond, otherwise I will not know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay, fine. Yeah, I got the yes. Fine, and the recording is also happening. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's begin. When more people join, we can see what happens. A couple of requests to all of you. One, please log in with your IIT Mandi email address, your student's email ID, not from your personal Gmail account. Okay, then it makes it easier to keep track. So please log in with your IIT Mandi account next time. And second thing is that please rename your profiles with your first name and last name, because B1611, B18063, B18063, I don't know who the person is. So so please rename your names, so that your profile, so that I see your names. Okay. And if possible, change the picture, since most of you guys are not on video. Please have a profile picture so that I know who is there. Okay. Okay, so 43 people are there so far. Okay, so what I will do is, now that we'll restart online teachings, so what I will do is, I hope you have watched some of the videos which I had uploaded earlier in the first phase, I think in March. So I'll continue to upload such videos. I will make them offline, and I will make it like 10-15 minute videos. This time, rather than using that pen and paper, where I had a camera where I was recording the pen and paper, while I was writing on pen and paper, what I think I'll do is I will somehow get a tablet, and then I will make notes on the tablet and share the screen. Okay, and that will be recorded. But I'm still in the process of doing it, so it'll take some time to do that. Okay, so I have now done something else now, but so that is, but basically what I wanted to say is I will be making short lectures which I will upload on the YouTube channel, which was there earlier, and you should refer to that. Okay, and that is not enough, you should read the textbook. Okay, you should read the textbook, because these notes can only cover like some parts of it, or it just gives you the basic idea. For the rest of it, you will have to go through problems and solve problems from the textbook. Okay, problem sets we will upload as before, but we'll see. I'll have to work out how exactly all that is done, because the problem sets will be uploaded, but you will have to do it yourself and get it evaluated yourself. I mean, we can have doubt clearance sessions, that is fine, but the problems, whatever we upload, are not going to be directly corrected by the TAs. Okay, so it's up to you to solve the problems. Mayank Agarwal wants to join. Okay, sure. Okay, so these online sessions I'm planning to have on Wednesdays, 3 to 4. But like I said, these are live sessions, but these are primarily not lectures. It is mostly to discuss something if you're stuck somewhere, or something is not clear, or something like that. Some live interaction, because most of the material will be covered through the offline notes, which I'll be uploading in the YouTube channel. Okay. Is this clear so far? Either you type or you say something. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I'm assuming that this is fine. Okay. And so what I will now do is this class primarily, or this session is primarily as a recap session. of what we have done so far. And so today also I was not very clear how exactly to do it, so I'm trying out something. So I've got some handwritten tablet notes which I will share with you guys now, and we'll go through the topics mentioned in those notes. And this is primarily a recap of what we covered in when you were here, and also some of the material which I've uploaded on the YouTube channel. Okay, it is not detailed. It's expected that you guys have already gone through the YouTube material and you are familiar with these ideas. Okay, so this is just to get started, just to see how this is fine. And one more thing, that this slot is booked for IC260. Okay, so if you have other classes, you do not accept anything else during Wednesdays 3 to 4. We're just keeping 1 hour per week for this. Okay, this is for the live session. Okay, so let me try to do the presentation. Present now. Window. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to share something. Can you see this slides? Can you see these slides? Not slide, it's like a handwritten notes, a PDF. Did you see it? Still visible, right? Okay, fine. So it's like it's written in green ink. I see 260 recap. Okay. Yeah, just to be sure that you're seeing this, right? IC260 recap. Just can you just type it here? IC260 recap. I just want to be sure. Okay. IC260 recap. Okay, fine. Okay, great, fine. Because I've got a lot of yes on this, so I don't know what is for what. Okay, now this is fine. I'm going to start going through this. By the way, just an update. I think some of you already know it, but there is now a positive case in Mandi town, 1 or 2 cases in Mandi town. So I think it's a matter of time by the time it comes to campus. So in case you didn't know, so we are still coming to office. Some faculty members are working from home. But I mean, most people are coming to office. But if there is a case on campus, then I think people will be at home. Okay. Yes, a lot of PhD students are returning because they are all going through quarantine and they're coming back. Hope all of you guys are safe. Okay. Okay, so we'll look at this material, which we'll quickly cover. And if there is anything in between, if something is not clear, please feel free to interrupt me. Sir, when will the college resume? We have no idea. No idea. And be ready for an online next semester. So there is, as of now, there is no plans to open the campus. It's primarily because as long as there is a quarantine requirement, people cannot come back now. Okay, so as long as people need to be quarantined. So since we don't have quarantine facility, so as far as I see, there is no way for you guys to come back soon to the campus. Right? Yeah, so we'll see, unless there is something else happens, vaccine or something. I am not sure. Okay, so currently there is no plan. What about evaluation? Janvi is asking. So evaluation, I think Dean students or Dean academics might have already emailed you. So I think what they are planning is yours is a large class, right? So why is my okay? Yours is a large class. So because of that, evaluation for such IC courses will probably happen only after you come back here. The major evaluation. Can't it be just pass fail grade? No, those decisions are not up to me. I mean, like I don't know. Dean students and others are Dean academics and others are working out all those details. So as of now, what they are planning as of now is that for large courses like this, for IC courses like this, which have like 80, 90 plus participants, they will have during the online lectures will online classes will continue, and a portion of the final marks will be evaluated online. For example, say take our own course, Signals and Systems. This will probably mean that, so if there are 100 marks for the course, maybe 30% of the marks will happen online. That may be through Moodle exam, or it could be through some other means, take home exam or something like that. But that will count for 30% of the grade. And once you come back, whenever that is, the remaining 70% will be evaluated. That is roughly the plan now. But but it's okay. So I'm not sure if this is official yet, but this is the thought process now. This is what they're thinking. Okay, so don't quote me on this. It is just that things are still not decided. The academic committees and dean academics, etc., are still discussing what is the best way to do it. But the challenges with the large courses like this, which have a lot of 80, 90 plus people. Smaller courses, maybe telephone, Viva, something like that is possible. That's what was done for many of the final years. But for large courses like this, I think as of now, there is some marks will be given through online evaluation, and the remaining will be done after you guys come back, whenever that is. But it might change. Okay, so that is how it is now. Okay, anything else? Fine. So let's come back to this one. So we covered several things. We were primarily looking at time domain representation of signals, and we saw some manipulations there. Okay, some new question. How long is the semester going to run? I don't know. I think this semester, I think, will finish by end of August. By end of August, all the teaching is supposed to be done, and that 30% marks are also supposed to be done. So that means, no, I think the exams, the next semester, I think, is planned around mid-September. So that means from September 1 to September 10, let's say, there is time for evaluation. So maybe a 30% evaluation will happen that time. I'm not sure. Okay. So this semester will then, so let me say the next semester will begin on September 15th. That is the current projection. But again, as things evolve, that also might change. Okay. Okay, so let's come back to signals and systems. So we saw how to represent signals in time domain, and we did manipulation of the independent variable. We had x of t, right? The signal x of t. Then we said what to do if it is x of 2t, x of t by 2. You know, when the signal expands or compresses. That we have seen. That is when you stretch and when you compress. We saw something about periodic signals. We saw something. We saw how that every signal can be divided into even and odd parts. So any x of t can have an xo of t plus xe of t. Xe and xo are, no, you can get the xt plus x of minus t, half of that. Shivam Kumar. Okay. X of t plus x of minus t will, half of that will give you the even part, and x of t minus x of minus t, half of that will give you the odd part. Right? Then we talked about energy signals and power signals. Energy signal is when the signal energy has a finite value, and we saw that because how energy and power were defined. We saw that if the signal has finite energy, it will have zero average power, and those kind of signals are called energy signals. Power signals are signals for which the power is non-zero, and hence, since energy is power over time, if for every unit time, if you have a non-zero power, then if you evaluate the power across all time, you will find that the energy of such power signals are infinite. So simple examples of power signals were sinusoids. Any signal which is periodic is a power signal. Energy signals are signals which have finite energy. Okay, like a signal which starts at one time and finishes at the other time. That kind of finite bandwidth, finite support signals. We also saw sinusoids. We saw sinusoids both in continuous time as well as in discrete time. And we saw that there are important differences between continuous time sinusoids and discrete time sinusoids, which I have summarized it here. Okay. So e raised to j omega naught t and e raised to j omega naught n are complex exponential signals. The real part and imaginary part of both of them are sinusoids. So that is how sinusoid is related to them by the Euler's formula. So if you look at the continuous time sinusoid, e raised to j omega naught t, so we are looking at the continuous time sinusoid now. So every continuous, so here j is of course constant, root of -1. Omega naught is the angular frequency, which is measured in radians per second. T is the independent variable here, which is time. Okay, so this is a complex exponential signal. So the only parameter which you can vary here is omega naught. Okay, because each sinusoid or each complex exponential will have its own frequency, and t is of course the variable over which you are evaluating the signal. Omega naught is the parameter. So as you change omega naught, distinct signals. So you, for every distinct value of omega naught, you will get a distinct e raised to j omega naught t. Whereas for the discrete time case, omega naught is not unique for every value of omega naught. You saw that omega naught plus k plus 2 pi are the same. So basically, discrete time complex exponentials which are different by a multiple of 2 pi in frequency are basically the same. Okay, and in the continuous time case, for every omega naught you get a periodic signal, whereas in the discrete time case there is a condition. The condition is that omega naught has to be a rational multiple of 2 pi. Only then is a discrete time complex exponential or a discrete time sinusoid periodic. Otherwise, it is not periodic. So fundamental frequency can be here in the case of continuous time, it is still omega naught, whereas in the case of discrete time, the fundamental frequency is omega naught by m. And fundamental period is 2 pi by omega naught for the continuous time case, whereas in this case it is 2 pi m by omega naught. So all these two properties are coming as a consequence of the omega naught becoming a rational multiple of 2 pi. So when you say it like this, m and n have to be relatively prime. Okay, then we saw some signal models which will be useful to us for the study of signals and systems. We saw the discrete time unit impulse function, which is defined like this, del of n, which is a very simple function. And we also saw u of n, which is the discrete time unit step. And u of n can be obtained by summing various del of n's. For example, this u of n here, if you have a series of shifted delta functions, del of n, del of n minus 1, del of l minus 2, and so on, and if you sum them up, you get the unit step. The unit step function is, you know how it is, right? It is 0 till 0, from 0 till the end. It has a value of 1. Okay, so counterparts exists for the continuous time case. You have the continuous time unit step u of t, and the discrete time unit step, and the discrete and the continuous time impulse function, which is basically defined as the derivative of the unit step. So dut by dt will give you del of t, and we how it was constructed, how we defined del of t was like this. You consider the u of t, you consider a approximation of u of t which has a width of delta, which we say u delta of t, and if you differentiate this, you get del delta of t. Okay, this is an approximation to the continuous time unit impulse, and this function in the limit is defined as the continuous time unit impulse. In the limit as this delta becomes smaller and smaller. Okay, can you see my mouse pointer, or is not there? Can you see my mouse pointer in the slides? Okay.
Yes,
fine,
sir.
fine. Okay. Okay, so this limit, as this delta tends to 0, this becomes narrower and narrower, and hence you get the del of t. And we also saw some useful properties. What is the u of t? Okay, that's fine. That we saw some useful properties of the delta function. How we are going to use it when x of t is a signal and del of t is a signal, and when you take the product x of t into del of t, essentially you will get x of 0 into del of t. Okay, so here, and if the delta function is shifted by t naught, this will be x of t naught into del of t minus t naught. So please remember that x of t and del of t are functions. So when you multiply two functions, you should get a function. So x of t multiplied by del of t minus t naught is not x of t naught. Okay, it is x of t naught into multiplied by del of t minus t naught. This is again a delta function. This is basically a scaled version of the shifted impulse. Right, this is the scaling of the shifted impulse here. Okay, we also saw something about systems. X of n is an input that passes to the system, and you get the output y of n. Okay, and we saw various properties of systems. There are systems with memory. Memory means if a system has memory, it makes use of inputs other than that of the current unit of time. Like currently what you know, if you have to use something which you have seen before, or if you will see in the future, such systems are systems with memory. Memoryless systems are, for example, y of n is equal to s of x of n, where here there is at the nth instant, the output at the nth instant will depend only on input at the nth instant. Okay, so for example, now a system like this, y of n is which is the sum of minus infinity, k goes from minus infinity to n, x of k. So basically, this is the accumulator system, which keeps on adding all the signals, all the values of the signals up to this current time. Okay, so it accumulates the input. So this is the accumulator system, and it is an example of a system which has memory. Then we saw inverse of systems. So y of t is 2x of t. This is one system. The inverse of the system is wt, which gives you half of y of t. So basically, your input you double, and that output, if you half, you get back the same input, right? For example, so for a system to be to have an inverse, it must be 1-to-1 and onto. Okay, so every input must be mapped to a unique output. Whereas just like how you do have it for mathematical functions. And if the system, like for example, this system here, yt equal to x square of t, is not invertible, because for a particular value of x, you can have plus or minus root x as the input. Okay, so since there are y of t will get mapped to either root x plus root x or minus root x, will both give you x of t. Another property which we saw was that of causality. So system is causal if it depends only on the output of the system, depends only on input which it has seen so far. Okay, so it could be the current input, or it could be the past input. But if the output requires inputs from the future, then we say that the system is not causal. Okay, so output depends only on the present values or past values. So that is causality. So practical systems have to be causal, but we can approximate non-causal systems by using buffers. Okay, so you can have a buffer which looks ahead a little bit, so that you can see a bit into the future. But in practice, that is an approximation of a non-causal system. Non-causal systems are really not realizable. We also talked about stability. Stability means if you give a bounded input, you should get a bounded output. Okay, so this the accumulator which we saw earlier is an unstable system. This was accumulator because if you give the unit step, for instance, or even a delta function, for instance, it is a bounded input because the maximum value of the input is going to be 1, but the output grows without bound. Okay, so this is not a stable system. Then we also saw time invariance. So that can be described very easily like this: x of t is the input, you pass it to the system, and you get a y of t. So if you have a time shifted input x of t minus t naught, then you get y of t minus t naught. Okay, so the shift in the input gives you a similar shift in the output. That is that system is time invariant system. So this system is time invariant if it satisfies this property. We also saw linearity. Okay, so this figure is split across 2 pages, but basically there is an x1 of t which you give to the system and you get a y1 of t. x2 of t we give to the same system, you get y2 of t. A linear combination of x1 and x2, alpha x1 of t plus beta x2 of t, will give you alpha y1 of t plus beta y2 of t. Okay, so a linear combination of input will give you the linear combination of output. So this was linearity. Then so I think we kind of finished, we stopped here in the physical classes. And after that, in the YouTube lectures, I had uploaded something about LTI systems. So it basically is like this. So any signal x of n can be written in terms of shifted and scaled impulse functions. For example, any arbitrary x of n, here, this signal x of n, I can write it like this. Okay, this again, the figure is split across the page. So, but basically the first, so this is 0 here. Okay, this one is 0. So there is an impulse here. There's one sample here at -1 time -1. So this is nothing but x of -1. X of n is my signal. So this is a scaled and this is a time advanced unit impulse function. Okay, so x of -1 del of n plus 1 is basically an impulse situated at -1, and it is scaled to the value x of -1. Whatever is the value of x of n, that at -1, that value you're giving here. So this is a scaled impulse and time advanced impulse. So the sample here at 0 is nothing but x of 0 del of n. The sample here at 1 is x of 1 del of n minus 1, because this is, if you consider only this impulse, it is, if you assume that the upper portions are not there, this is just an impulse which is inverted here in this case. So that is x of 1 del of n minus 1. So here x of 1 basically takes some negative value. That's how we got the flipped value of the impulse. And similarly, x of 2 del of n minus 2. This is again a shifted impulse. So if my then also let's assume that now a shifted impulse del of n minus k gives me an output h k of n. Okay, so if a del of n is shifted by k, I get h k of n. Okay, so for various values of k, you get various h of n's, h k of n's. So now basically what will happen is, so now if you represent some arbitrary signal like this, so essentially by adding these shifted and scale unit impulse functions, you can get back x of n, right? So when you have this x of n, as when you write this x of n in this fashion, and since if the system is linear, then by using the property of linearity system, by using the linearity property, we will get this x of k, h of k. So basically this one is giving me this. So a linear combination of this is going to give me a linear combination of this. The linear combination, see, this input is giving me this output. A linear combination of such inputs gives me a linear combination of such outputs because of the superposition property, and the system is linear. And if the system is also time invariant, that means del of n minus k is giving me a hk of n here. But now if my del of n is giving me h0 of n, del of n minus k is going to give me h n minus k. Okay, so then it basically means that your hk of n is same as h0 of n minus k. Okay, h0 is the output when you give a delta function which is situated at 0. So when it is shifted by k, it becomes h0 of n minus k. Okay, where h0 of n is the output of the system when you give a del of n. So by combining these two properties, if the system is time invariant as well as linear, which is an LTI system, you can write the output y of n as x of k h of n minus k, where the summation goes from k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. And this is the most useful, probably one of the most important takeaways of this entire course, where you can represent the output of a linear system in terms of the response it gives to the delta function, to the unit impulse. Okay, and this is written in this manner: y of n equal to x of n convolution h of n, where the star represents the convolution operator. And this h of n represents what is known as the impulse response. It is termed as the impulse response because it tells you how the system responds to an impulse. Okay, so LTI systems, any LTI system or any system, if you are able to model it as an LTI system, the output to any input can be computed using the convolution sum. Okay, so just by performing the convolution operator with the input and the impulse response, you can get the output to any input. The same thing exists in the continuous time also. Y of t here is equal to, where the summation now becomes a continuous integral x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. It basically has the same form. Okay, here here we are summing it over k, whereas here we are doing it over tau, integrating it over tau. Tau is the variable of convolution here, and we have the same form: y of t equal to x of t convolved with h of t. Okay, we also saw in the YouTube videos some properties. H of t convolved with x of t convolved with h of t is same as h of t convolved with x of t. That is commutativity property of convolution. Whether you convolve x with h or h with x, it doesn't matter. You'll get the same y. Associative property, distributive property here actually. X h of t convolved with h1 of t plus h2 of t is equal to this. It distributes over addition. So h of t convolved with h1 of t plus h of t convolved with h2 of t. Essentially, what is this? So what we can summarize here is x of t is convolved. I mean, you pass it to the system, which is represented by h of t, and you get the y of t. And this is the relationship between y and x. Okay, it is related through h. So this is what we just saw. What we saw here. Okay, so this is my x of t. There are two systems, h1 and h2, which has an impulse response h1 of n, and this has an impulse response h2 of t. So when you pass it to both of them, it is essentially same as h of t convolved with x of t convolved with h1 of t plus x of t convolved with h2 of t, and you get the y of t. Okay. Associative property, basically it means x of n convolved with h1 of n convolved with h2 of n is same as x of n convolved with h1 of n convolved with h of 2. Essentially what it means is, this is what it means: x of n, you convolve it with first h1, then you convolve it with h2, you get y of n. But now if you interchange the order, if you do x of n convolved with h2, and this output you convolve with h1, again you'll get the same input. The order, if you have two systems in series, the order of systems don't matter. Okay. So there are some useful properties which you can gain from the h of t. I mean, some properties of systems are also reflected in the impulse response. One is memoryless systems. So it can be shown that it can be done very easily actually. When if the system does not have memory, h of t is equal to 0 when t is not equal to 0. Essentially, this basically means that your h of t is non-zero only at 0. Okay. In essence, that means that HFT is a scaled version of the impulse function. So if a system has no memory, its impulse response will have only one value, and that value will be at 0. That's basically what it means. If a system is invertible, it basically means that if you have x of t, you pass it through h of t, and suppose h of t has an inverse h1 of t. So when you pass it x of t through h of t, you get some output that you pass it through the inverse system, you get back the same input, right? Because this too. So basically, this basically means that h of t convolved with h1 of t is equal to del of t. H of t convolved with h1 of t, that is a system convolved with this inverse, gives you delta function. Delta function is essentially like a identity operator in the convolution operation. Okay. Del of t is is the identity operator in the convolution operation. We also explained what is causality, and it can be shown that the impulse response for a causal LTI system has to satisfy h of n equal to 0 for n less than 0, or in the continuous time case, h of t equal to 0 for t less than 0. So basically, for a linear time invariant system to be causal, it means that its impulse response will not have values which are positive. For example, all the so h of n will be 0. All the values of h of n less than 0 for the index less than 0 will be 0. Okay, h of n is going to be always left side. It has only the left side component. Right side component, I mean, it has only the right side component. Left side component will be 0. H of n will be 0 for n less than 0. And about stability also we saw. So we explained what is stability, and we can also show that for a linear time invariant system which is stable, the impulse response must be absolutely summable. Okay, so this is actually a necessary and sufficient condition for a systems to be stable. The impulse response will be absolutely summable. So that means a stable system will not have an impulse response which rises like this. Okay, it continuously rises. No, that will not happen, because it has to be absolutely summable. It has to, so a stable system will have an impulse response which will decay with time. Okay. Okay, so these were some of the topics which we covered in the physical class as well as in the online class. Now I will start uploading notes. We'll start doing Fourier analysis. We'll have to start with Fourier series. So I had already made some notes, but those notes are not in the digital form. So I will make them once I get a hang of this, and I'll do it offline. So please keep checking the YouTube channel, and I'll keep you updated when I add new material. So at this point, are there any questions? Okay, so please remember that this subject you will have to sit and solve problems. Only then you will get the hang of the topic. Okay, I'll try to make the lectures more idea based rather than, because I'll not be sitting and solving problems during the lectures which I will be uploading. The lectures are mostly explaining the concept. For you to understand the material, you will have to sit and solve the problems. So problem sheets also we will upload. Okay, so please take it seriously, and because finally, like I said, we will have an online quiz. I'm planning to take a Moodle quiz. Maybe I'll give a half-an-hour window. It will be a multiple choice kind of quiz. Maybe some 10-15 questions which you must be able to solve. Okay, and in that half an hour you can upload. You can attempt the quiz. I'll let you know. The date of quiz is not yet decided. Okay. And once we get more details about the online evaluation, how the evaluation will happen, or when your main exam will happen, all those details, once we also have some clarity, I'll let you know. So, how many courses are going on for you online? Are there multiple courses, or signals and systems is one, but are all your other courses also continuing? 3 to 4. Okay. So, how many courses are still not happening online? Practicum ones are not happening. Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know how it will happen. We'll see. We are still working out. Okay, so I hope you guys are getting some time to study at home. Okay, so try to keep a routine. Maybe if you are lucky to have your own room, then that's great. But in case that is not possible, please try to find a quiet place where you can spend some time. And please, it's easy to not to do anything, but please take some time and please be on it. Okay. Okay. Any other questions at the point at the moment? Okay. Tutorials, I think it's already on Moodle, tutorial 1 and 2. So if you have not done them already, please go through them. Wednesdays are usually a good time for you to ask any questions if you have. Okay. All the problems which you are solving. If you are not able to solve some of them, you please let me know during these Wednesday interactions. Can it be only assignment type questions? You mean the quiz? No, quiz will be, if it is going to be a Moodle quiz, it will be assignment questions because it's not possible to evaluate all the assignments right now. TAs are also not here. The course will be, the syllabus is not changed. As per nothing has changed in the course, only the mode of delivery has changed. The Moodle will have the course syllabus. It is it's already there. Okay. So nothing has changed, only that the mode of delivery has changed. And we'll see how much we can cover and how much with what detail we can cover. Okay. No, it's not confirmed that you are having NSEM in college. Things are still not clear. I think the dean, academic, and others are still deciding how to do the online evaluation. So nothing is confirmed. Okay, but I think I'm almost sure that you will have some component of the marks will come from online evaluation. The remaining evaluation, I don't know how it will happen. Maybe it might happen after you come back, or it might happen earlier than that. I'm not sure. Okay, so please spend time on this subject. What if college doesn't open in September? Yeah, it's quite likely that it will not open in September. It will, online classes will continue. We have already been told to prepare for online classes next semester. So at least computer science guys have large application practicum, right? Next semester. I think I'll be taking that. So that I don't know how to handle. We'll see. Mark some questions from the book. You should tutorial problems, whatever we upload, no, solve all of them. That is already there. Okay, so give importance to those problems. Tutorial problems are meant to be done. So if you, I think the most important type of question I'll take from there. So once you solve all of them, you'll get some idea how to do it. Fine. No, I'm not sure. When will college open? I have no idea. I have no idea. Fine. If there is nothing else, we can close the session. And then we can, I'll upload this meeting also on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. And then you can, those of you who couldn't make it online, you can, so 55 people attended the meeting and people kept going off in between. That's fine. Okay, then, okay, everybody. So I will upload the notes and we will meet again next Wednesday. Yeah. Digital notes I'll upload. Notes also I'll upload. Okay. Okay. So stay safe and take care. Yeah. Goodbye.